for the past 15 years, since the inauguration of the PNLG, two strategic action plans or SAPs has already been adopted by the network. The SAP is necessary because it charts the future course of the PNLG collectively as a network, while the local government members have their own individual and medium-term and long-term strategic plans. The SAP aims to draw and consolidate the priorities and good practices of the PNLG members in relation to sustainable coastal development and showcase their contribution to local, national, regional, and global targets. So the PNLG adopted 5-year SAP in 2011 during the PNLG General Assembly in Dongying, China, with the signing of the Dongying Declaration. The first SAP was inspired by the increasing interest on blue economy, and the PNLG members reaffirmed their commitment to implement 6 concrete and measurable targets through their ICM programs that are blue economy responsive. And then the PNLG adopted the second 5-year SAP in 2016 during the PNLG General Assembly in Ansan, Republic of Korea, with the signing of the Ansan Declaration. The SAP set the targets and actions for the network until 2021 in line with 4 UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, as Madam Chair described a while ago. The SDGs were adopted by the UN member countries in 2015. And for the PNLG, there are 4 SDG targets that they have committed to implement plans and programs to contribute to their achievement. This includes SDG 6 on clean water and sanitation, SDG 11 on sustainable cities and communities, SDG 13 on climate action, and SDG 14 on life below water. And today, the PNLG members will adopt the third SAP covering the period 2022 to 2030 with the signing of the PREA-Sihanouk Declaration. Okay, so the third SAP, or the upcoming SAP, will serve as a guiding framework for the PNLG until 2030, which is aligned with the target completion year of the UN SDGs. It is also aligned with the regional priorities of PEMSEA, of the PEMSEA roadmap to 2030, which will be adopted by the ministers of the 11 country partners of PEMSEA at the ministerial forum tomorrow, as Dr. Van Munilit also highlighted in his speech. The third SAP outlines the program components and the corresponding targeted actions, indicators of progress, timeline, and responsibilities of the members and its various partners. And similar to the past, to the 2 previous SAPs, the third SAP does not create new responsibilities, but builds on the past accomplishments of the members collectively and individually, and maintaining its relevance under the 20th decade of action for sustainable development. Okay, so the framework for the third SAP comprises of 3 major program components. These include strengthening governance and partnerships, the continuing implementation of management programs related to these 4 SDG targets that have been committed to by the members in the Ansan Declaration. And the third one is enhancing the monitoring, evaluation, and reporting system of the network. As mentioned by Dr. Fang, the PNLG Secretariat has earlier provided the members a copy of the draft SAP and the PREA-Sihanouk Declaration for review, where details of each of these 14 key actions under these 3 major program components were provided. So in the interest of time, I will not elaborate on the 14 key actions, but I would like to emphasize that they are practical, relevant, and timely as far as the local governments are concerned. Also, the third SAP is relevant because the PNLG joins the global community in contributing to the decade of action, focusing on enhancing local implementation of selected SDGs. Sorry. Let me see. Okay, so the third SAP will also take into account the outcomes of these various global plans of actions, including the UN Decade of Ocean Science, the Post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, the national and regional agreements using an integrated coastal delivery and integrating mechanism. And as also highlighted by Madam Chair, the third SAP will also take into consideration the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic. So we will take into consideration the recovery strategies of the national governments as well as the local governments to reduce the risk of future crises. And finally, the PREA Sihanouk declaration entitled PNLG Leadership for the Decade of Action for Sustainable Development of the Coast and Oceans through Integrated Coastal Management serves as a declaration of commitment among the members to implement the SAP 2022 to 2030. And this will be achieved through the implementation of ICM programs and related initiatives that addresses the 14 key actions and targets of the SAP within the authorities and jurisdiction of the local government members, and regularly reporting their progress in implementation within the next 5 years.